Okay, so our group has done a fundraiser called the Lift-a-thon. Basically, this is a really cool way for community to get involved. So in some other fundraisers where you go door to door or just meet people and hand out things or try to get them to buy something, the Lift-a-thon actually brings people from the community into the college or the university that would be doing the Lift-a-thon. So what is it? A Lift-a-thon is sometimes called pennies per pound, and what happens is basically people will pledge a certain amount of money per weight. So it's kind of a really creative way for competitive sports teams to fundraise. There are different types of ways to do it. You can do it through the pledge, or you can do it through like a set amount of money for the weights, and all the donations that are brought in, the sports teams can use. So why do it? Athletes are competitive, so it's kind of a cool way to not only test yourself, but to also raise money for your team. I know with our strength and conditioning program, Coach Bullock really pushes us to the max, so this would be a really cool thing to do. Just because high schools have done it previously doesn't mean the colleges couldn't benefit from it as well. The money is kind of instant, so it allows for a quick way to get that, and then it also attracts alumni that previously went to the school to the event to see what's going on and to help support the team that they used to be a part of.
All right. So when you're conducting an event, obviously you have to organize it. So with the organized event, you can have flyers, telling your athletes, like when you're a strength coach or whatever, get them motivated, like, hey, we're trying to reach this number here. So if you work hard and all that, we will achieve this set amount of money. So as Taylor mentioned earlier, athletes are competitive, they want to beat each other as well, so that might get an extra dollar or two, whatever, when they're lifting. Also, to organizing an event, there's a safety net, aka liabilities, which we'll see on the next event, or the next slide. So when you're setting up an event, you have to make sure everything's covered. You can have your pledger sign their name, how much they're pledging, what the weight has to be achieved to achieve this amount of money. Then the player would sign here, and then have like a coach, if it's a high school level or whatever, sign off on it saying yes, they can do this, and this is the weight they did. Next slide, please. A release form. This is to make sure everything's okay. So if an accident did occur, that you are okay, the athlete's okay, and the school is okay as well. These are always very important during situations because you don't want a lawsuit to occur during something that could be potentially fun for the school and for like the program to get better equipment. As a coach, if you are the coach during this, you gotta make sure the players' mindsets are right and everything. So, like I mentioned earlier, get your athletes being competitive, because we all are. Most of us in here are athletes. We want to win. We want to beat our buddies or whatever. So, if you can make them perform how they do on the football field, baseball field, volleyball court, or whatever, they're going to do great in the weight room, and you're going to get a nice reward for being able to lift right away.
All right. So during the event, it would include a really loud, open atmosphere. The donors and the alumni that are involved are going to, of course, be welcome to the event. It'll be a pretty loud and intense kind of thing, just like you'd expect in a weightlifting event like this. It'll be really entertaining and just all around fun for everyone involved. And here's an example of what we're looking for. I don't know if this happens.
It should be on, yes. Give this maybe.
This is what college was it was.
Fair State.
Yes. Fair State. Everyone's standing around and motivating them and cheering them on. That's the atmosphere that we're looking for this.
As you can seen in the video, there's always a spotter, so safety's always an issue with doing an event like this because the athletes are required to push more than what they can do at times. And then as Paul mentioned earlier, the atmosphere had guys around pushing them, and then the coach was also a spotter as well to make sure the rep counted or not. So technique was a big issue.
Yep, this is a physical breakdown. We pulled this from Fair States. That's a D2 program that they did this exact same style program. And it just shows how they break it up into weight classes by the actual weight of the individual competing. And the big focus is they do a lot of different lifts, not just one lift. So you kind of get a broad spectrum. And this is like, this just breaks down examples of the guys. And this will show like who get the total weight and who won like the most money raised. And we'd after it would be sort of released like this, and it makes it more of a competition. So we did a lot of research for this. We looked at a lot of scholarly work involving this sort of thing, just trying to get some ideas for how to do this properly. And some of the main things we found that are useful in our specific project were some of these things. One of the main emphasis on modern scholarly work about fundraising and athletics is it talked about how people are much more likely to donate to an athletic event as opposed to other, like I guess more leisurely events like that, because in our society today, sports are a really prevalent theme. I guess they're really involved in pop culture and in economics and education. So people are affected a lot by sports, so they're much more likely to donate to a sporting event than, say, something that's not as intense, not as helpful. Yeah, that's. Yeah.
Okay, so I looked at another article that talked about Clemson University and a lot of other schools. So as you can see on the slide, they received a 10% increase in athletic sport, which was associated with a 5% increase in academic support. I know when Myra came in and talked about it, she talked about how athletics is actually used as a recruiting tool for admissions. Something this article brought up, which is pretty cool, was that it didn't really matter across public versus private scales. It was pretty much the same. But alumni giving donations, contributions, all of this is affected by how well a team does. So postseason championships, winning records. People want to support things that are doing well. So if alumni are interested in giving, it is important to do well when you're during your season. NCAA classification was an important moderator in this analysis, but again, like I said, the institution type was not significant. So there was a huge difference between Division I, Division II, and Division III, but as far as private versus public institutions, there wasn't much. Then I put a quote on here that says, institutional fundraisers should invest in understanding the role of athletics. Athletics play in giving and learn to leverage athletic success to benefit institutional fundraising efforts. So if you went to a school that didn't have athletics, that would be something that didn't necessarily bring everyone together. I know here at Emory we don't have a lot to do, so most people do go to football games, basketball games, baseball games. So when people are trying to fundraise for the school, it is important to consider giving money to athletics because they do play a major role.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, prior motives for college athletic donors. The reason to donate is with sporting events, sporting is entertainment. So that's what honestly is a big money factor in today's society. Sports, Monday night football, Thursday night football now, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. If you can bring in an athletic spectrum into your school, you're going to get a lot of money. Schools with football obviously have a bigger budget. Schools without it, like schools like Bradford, that only have basketball, baseball. The smaller sports don't have as much of an athletic budget as a school like we do, because football is a huge moneymaker here for us. And it also helps like the atmosphere. I mean, it's kind of cool that on a Saturday here, you can go to tailgate field and hang out because we know football's going on, so we can hang out over there for a little bit, then watch more football. Or even with basketball gets really loud, the atmosphere is awesome. It's just a good experience for the students or alumni to come back here.
To sort of wrap things up, fundraising is extremely necessary at all levels of college athletics. It's super important all the way to big Division I schools, and it's just as important here. There's kind of a common theme in fundraising that when someone is connected or, I guess, internally motivated towards a cause or a theme, they're much more likely to donate to that theme. And that's kind of what this event would be at Emory and Henry. It would be a community event. And that's so much of what Emory is it's community. The athletic program is such a community, and every single person that's come through here has in some way been affected or attended or participated in athletics at Emory and Henry College. So this event is a way of encompassing that whole community aspect and securing donors not only for this event but for the future.